What's up, everybody? It's Brandon from Box Office Banner and Cult Flick Symposium, and I'm here to talk about the first Omen. Good God, I am just kind of like not in the mood for these movies. Because, admittedly so, I do love the original Omen. I always say on this channel, these types of movies aren't necessarily my favorite kinds of movies in the horror subgenre. I'm more monster flick. I'm more slasher movie. But every once in a while, you'll get one that's done like this, that's just completely done right, and it wins you over. There's just less leeway in these types of movies. You either get a fucking like, oh my God, that was so fucking chilling. That was so good. Or you get the, oh my God. Like, how many times are they going to trick me to watch these kinds of dumbass movies? With slasher movies and monster movies, truly, honestly, there's probably less like great ones on an objective scale, but you have the leeway to enjoy it more because when these movies go south and are bad, they're at least fun popcorn flicks that you would love to like laugh at with your friends while getting drunk. You know, there's an appeal there still. So this is not my type of subgenre, like paranormal, possession, anything of that nature. But there are ones that are great, and The Omen definitely lives up to its name. I think The Omen 2, Damien, lives up to its name. Very fucking solid ass sequel. And I'll even go a step further. I love The Omen 3. Love, that's a strong word. It's close, dude. Sam Neill, very underrated as a horror guy. Fucking great. But then we get to The Omen 4, and good Christ, throw it in the trash. Absolutely horrible. Then we got the Omen remake, another one of those more shot for shot, just terrible movies. I cannot get into the Omen remake at all. And even though it's been a couple movies in the meantime, how long has it been since we've had a good Omen movie? I'll wait, man. I mean, that's just two movies, but like, we're kicking it back to what, like the 80s? When did the Omen 3 come out? I don't even know. I got the box set around here somewhere that Scream Factory did. But let's take it a step further. A lot of people don't even think the Omen 3 is good. I might be alone on that hill. It's a mixed bag for people. So coming into 2024, not seeing an Omen movie be good in so long, I got to see it because I'm a big fan of the original and like the next two. Maybe, just maybe, without high hopes, it could be decent. But how could it be? We just saw what they did with Exorcist Believer. Ugh. I was not a believer. This needed to be the last Omen. No more of this. Only now I'm eating my words because this fucking movie was dope, dude. I am so surprised at this one. This is, you can book it, going to be near the top of my just most surprising list. You know, my top 10 surprises of the year. Spoiler alert, probably going to be on it because this movie was absolutely fantastic. There was a couple spots in it that held it back from being like oh, Jesus, this could have been everything to me. You know, that type of movie where like you just were singing its praises nonstop, but it's still damn close and is way better than it has any right to be, given what I expected, man, and what we've had. I thought it was going to be a stupid cash grab. It was not. I do not know the lead actress's name in this movie, but she was flat out amazing. She's kind of reserved, but that's like what the role calls for in the beginning. But I'm on board. Like, I'm like, okay, yeah, she's pretty good. She's pretty good. But once, you know, the training wheels come off, and you've got to watch her start to turn into, and I'm not giving away spoilers here. I'm not saying she's going to turn into a monster or she's going to be like the next Damien. I'm not saying any of this crazy shit, okay? I'm not going there. What I'm saying is when she's got to fucking turn into another part of the role, like, you know, where maybe something calls for like her to scream now, or maybe something calls for her to emote a little more. When she's able to take those training wheels off and really turn into this person that we see at the end of the film, it's fucking great. She nails it. Quite possibly my favorite performance of the year so far. It's early, but she's fucking great. I don't know if I've seen her in anything else. We might have a future Scream Queen on our hands. I just saw the movie Immaculate, which I thought was damn great. Wasn't quite immaculate, but was damn great. Similar-ish kind of story, actually. And this was just like a week ago. I believe it was my last review on the channel. I don't know when I'm going to release this, but as of now, as I'm recording this, Immaculate was my last review on the channel. This one, as good as Immaculate was, does what Immaculate didn't do. The gripes I kind of had with it, it felt like once the shit got going, it just rushed and was just like, look at all this crazy shit, and then we're out the door. Works on its own merits. I get it. I know why they went that way. I'm not even going to say it's necessarily rushed in terms of making the movie worse. They were trying to just hit you over the head and you didn't have a chance to breathe. I think that was more of what they were going with. This movie takes its time and lets you simmer in it more. And with this type of flick that really depends on getting under your skin, I think it does a lot better and serves as a better movie because of it. It really did feel like they were pulling back layer after layer after layer until you were finally there. Kind of rhymed. I can make it rhyme, right? At the very end destination, and you were like, oh shit. Like it felt more earned when you were there. And this is not to shit on Immaculate. I'm just, because that was something previous and there's similar films I just talked about. Immaculate's great. Go see it. But this one, the balance I thought was a lot better. It was a smoother transition. That extra 20 minutes or whatever it is in comparison. This is done very well. The way it flows, the way it's fleshed out, the characters, the threat of just what could go wrong. I'm not going to go there with what necessarily it is, but there's more things that have your heartstrings, I guess, pulling in different directions for me. Like where I'm worried about, whoa, what could happen here, 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 here. Other than just the lead's performance, everybody's performance done very well. Some of the gore and shock factor within the gore, and I think a lot of people probably know, this movie almost got an unrated rating, like an X rating, because of a nude scene. It might not have got that because of that, but I'll say they pushed some fucking limits with this movie, not just in the gore department, but kind of what I'm alluding to. I'm not going to say everything, but maybe we'll piece that together. It's pretty graphic in spots, most definitely. They do pay some good, homage sometimes in this as well. They've done very well in that regard. I think, honestly, too, where it leaves it, the ending. At first, I kind of had a problem with the ending. It still didn't do exactly what I wanted to do, which seems to be a theme of this year. But when the ending first takes off, there's a scene that I will say now is probably my favorite scene of the year. It had me on the edge of my seat, and I was like, oh, man, lock the fuck in. I think on the very way out the door, like the very ending, there's something that happens that I didn't, it was like a half and half. Part of it I didn't really like, but I was really intrigued by a potential setup. Yes, setup. Not going to say anything, but we just might have another Omen movie. And at first, I really, going in the movie would be like, please God, no, this is probably where it needs to end, but I'm up for this if they do go forward. And the one thing I'm going to say, though, is like, as good as this movie's actually being received, if you haven't looked at it, it's not just me singing its praises right now. This, in general, seems to be a very well-received movie across the board, fans and critics alike. Does not seem to have a lot of people in the theater at the moment. I haven't really looked at the box office numbers. There wasn't a lot of people in our theater because they're probably thinking the same thing I am. Like, a new Omen movie, it's probably going to suck. And some people just aren't as desperate as I am as a horror fan, or don't have a review channel, so they have to get out different reviews. But I'm a fan of the franchise, so I had to know. But beyond that, though, just the placement of when it comes in, man. With Monkey Man coming out, you got like Indian John Wick, right? Right? So everybody's like, okay, give me some version of John Wick again. I'm here for that. And then what else is out right now? There's another movie, Ghostbusters. Even though it's dying down a little bit, it's still a big property that can bleed over into the next weekend. It's just, I don't know. It's going to be hard, I think, for it to like compete. And I hope I'm wrong. And I hope it actually does get a sequel, because, there's some really good moments in here. And honestly, there's some twists and turns in here to keep you like, on the edge of your seat, edge of your feet, where you're kind of backpedaling like, oh, keep it interesting. I think they're a bit, you kind of see them coming, especially because, it's like a prequel. You can guess certain things. And, but it's one of those movies where, for me, and this rarely happens, but it does happen, where you're so invested with the movie that when you see a twist play out, and even though you kind of could see it coming, but you're so invested in the story, now you're just like, okay, yeah, I could have saw this coming, but I want to see how this plays out further, because this will be fucking cool. I'm glad it went the way I thought it was going to go. every once in a while you get one of those, and this movie has that appeal, in my personal opinion. And I'm trying to think of, anything else. I don't want to give away too much. I don't like doing that on this channel. But I've got to tell you guys, man, if this is your bag and you're into this type of stuff, or you're an Omen fan and you even just only like the original, you should definitely give this one a chance. I don't see anybody walking out of this movie thinking it sucks. I mean, you might walk out and be like, okay, yeah, it was decent, but you at least got to give it that. Like, they did something here, man. It wasn't just some bullshit cash grab. They truly, you can tell, put some effort into this one. There's shock value. There's legitimate gritty scares. There's pop-out scenes, but it's not to the point where you're like, oh, my God, settling for pop-out scenes. This movie, in general, man, they just did everything damn good. Damn good before my computer dies. I just realized it said it was a battery running low. My shit's plugged up, but the little part that goes into it, I guess, came out. But, I mean, that's pretty much the review anyways, guys. It's got a little bit of everything if you're a horror fan. If you like gore, if you like surprises, even though some of them are kind of, you can kind of see them coming, performances. This is a fucking dope movie, man. And it actually grew on me the more I thought about it, because I went to, like, level 11, and then I came back down a little bit, and I'm like, you know what? I'm still like being too hard on this. Is for what it is. Fuck yeah, dude. Check out the first Omen. This one is always gonna be watched by me. I probably will skip over parts 4 and not 5, but the 5th installment, the remake, and straight to this. No problem doing that, because this is yeah, dude. This is, you got to see it, man. I'm telling you, you've got to see this movie. This movie is fucking dope. Love you guys. Peace.